Oh, it's controversial. We'd love to hear from you on this. Get in touch, 03717 223344. We would love to hear your views. Right, Goughy, let's walk through this. Right, Rick Parry, chair of the EFL, said Premier League B teams are non-negotiable, right? It's unequivocal. Rick Parry believes the strength of the EFL is that every single club sits at the heart of the community and that B teams represent a misunderstanding of what the football pyramid is. Strong stuff, right? Parry's still negotiating with the Premier League to share the sales of EFL and Premier League rights, with the EFL getting a 25% cut of all money made. However, is insistent that dropping B teams into the lower leagues cannot happen. So the idea was at the core of last year's rejected Project Big Picture. You remember talking about that last year? So Man City manager Pep, who you heard there, is getting quite exercised about it. Says it's the best for English football. If they played against the EFL clubs week in, week out, it would develop that next generation of talent. But Oxford United boss Carl Robinson said the Premier League clubs should not stockpile 30 to 40 teenagers if they want them to improve. They should carry fewer players and send them out on loan to EFL clubs. Where do you stand on this one in Goughy? What are you saying?
Well, I've always thought, why don't they just go back to reserve football?
Yeah.
I mean, that was always strong. I mean, you got some of the strong clubs, the biggest clubs have the most youngsters. They're playing proper men's football. You know what I mean? I think we try to get away from that. We've tried other stuff and it's not worked. So I get what Pep's saying, but we can't have the richest clubs playing somewhere in the Championship or League One or League Two, but just go back to stronger reserve team football. If the squads are going to be bigger and they've got so many young players playing for them, that would be the best route.
Carl Robinson makes a good point at Oxford United, doesn't he? Send the players out on loan to other clubs. Yeah, helps you get a gate in. You know, young talent coming through, like I mentioned earlier on, James Madison.
And some of them go abroad as well.
Yeah, exactly. So, could it be better for homegrown talent to improve in English football? Though that's the other argument. So the counter argument is get them in their own B team, players they know they've come through with since they're 12, 13 years old.
Man United B versus playing in Manchester City B. You know what I mean? It's a big game, big reserve game, and that was really, really strong back in the day. I was around it. I've seen it. It was really, really good. But they changed that now. They try to get them playing the kind of own age groups and under 21s and under 23 and all that stuff. But I'd like to see it. But one thing I have said in the past is because of the dominance of two clubs within.
I know where this is going.
Within Scotland, what I did say is, but to keep the interest up there and the power of Rangers and Celtic were for them to come down and play in that, which would develop their game. But they could still probably put out a B team that they make, which would be competitive in Scotland.
Here's the thing, though, right? The Scottish League is really competitive at the moment. Rangers are just topped by a couple of points. But the argument always is, if they came down south, it would be at the expense of somebody else who would have to drop out of the league, or you have complete league reconstruction. And that's not going to go down well with a lot of clubs.
No, it's not going to happen. It gets mentioned all the time. But I'm sure Rangers and Celtic would like to come down as well, because that's where the money is. Look at the money in the Premier League now. And I've heard all sorts of different people that have played up there and said you give them 5 years of Premier League money and survival and they would be seriously challenging. I've heard lots of people say we'll never know, but if it did happen, I still think as well you suddenly don't want to get rid of teams. Celtic and Rangers still have to have a presence in Scotland, and they could easily do it because they would have the money to have a B team that still have that presence and the history behind Scotland.
Is it about reforming the League Cup, though? Is that the way to do it? Have a national cup?
Well, it'd be great, wouldn't it?
That's something to think about. So look, Germany, Holland and Spain, they've got a sort of B team league like this, and it does seem to improve academy players, so maybe that's a precedent we should be thinking about following.
And is it Real Madrid have got a B team as well, haven't they?
I think it happens in Portugal as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, in Portugal, yeah. So they do it in other countries, and that's where Pep's giving you that angle, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I don't think it is. I think you just need to go back to reserve team football, which is proper hardcore football, where you've got some seasoned pros at Manchester City who might not be playing. Like Sterling, he'd have to go and play midweek at this moment in time because he's probably coming off the bench and playing 10, 15 minutes here and there. Guess what? He'd be turning out in reserve team football.
Yeah. It's an incredible thought, that, isn't it?
Yeah, with some of the best youngsters at Manchester City against whoever they're playing against, whether it be Liverpool, whether it be Manchester United. He'd be playing reserve team football at this moment in time because he's not playing enough minutes.
So from the point of view of the players in those squads then, Goughy, right? So they must be carrying, late 40s, 50s, maybe early 50s, that number of players on the squad. Would you want that as a young player to go off and play in a B team, or would you rather be farmed out on loan to the continent or possibly play in the lower league? What would you rather?
Well, look at the player's development. I think at the start, early on, surely you want him around. So you can teach him the Manchester City way, the Manchester United way, and he gets used to the club. But then there'll come a time when he said, okay, he's ready for the next level now. So now, like Gilmore now, he's gone straight from Chelsea, got into the Scotland side, now he's at Norwich, and he's struggling at Norwich.
He's been dropped for a couple of games.
Yeah, well, there you go. So was it the right move for him to go straight into another Premier League side? Adrian talked about this yesterday. We'll only find out at the end of the season. You know what I mean? He's in a side that's struggling, so it's very, very difficult for him. But you look at Conor Gallagher, who's at Palace, and how good's he been?
Yeah, exactly.
He's been absolutely outstanding.
Outstanding.
So there's a time and a place, isn't there?
Well, we'd love to hear from you about this. We've got our first caller, Gav, Arsenal fan. Gav, what do you reckon? Do you agree with Goughy on this? Do you think it would be a good thing to have B teams playing in the lower leagues?
Yeah, I do. I really like the idea of it, but I don't like the idea of it being in the Football League. I think it should be from like Conference National level down. But I think that also needs a bit of a reform on the whole Football League's pyramid as a whole. I wrote a piece on it last year, and I think if you look at the way that the Bundesliga operates, the way you look at La Liga operates, you've got the second tier teams playing. Sorry, you've got the reserve teams playing in like the third tier, which is, for instance, in Germany, even though the third division is a professional league, the standard of it is top-end semi-professional. So for them to then play in the Conference National, which is the highest level of semi-professional football in this country, I think then that would benefit the players that we have, like at Arsenal, United, Chelsea, Liverpool, etc.
Would it benefit them better to do that, or be still at the club where Pep Guardiola takes a training session once a week and he's training them to do that, and then when they're ready they go out on loan to another club?
Well, I think it would be a benefit, and from my refereeing background, I used to see how good the actual standard is at the top end of semi-pro. It's a lot better than a lot of people think by watching it on telly or just, reading a couple of reports. The physicality.
Gav's disappearing a little bit there, Goughy, but I think the point he's making is the quality at the semi-pro top end of that scale. A lot of players who've dropped out of the league and playing at that level, but still quality players.
Yeah.
I mean, I think for me on that is the issue of lifestyle and everything that exists around your contract as a player in the Premier League. To go semi-pro must be a massive culture shock, right? How do you make that work?
Yeah, and how do they train? So does he have to train with his club all week and then just rock up on a Saturday for the club? So you don't get to be part of it, do you? If the semi-pros, train once a week? Do they? Some might be twice a week, really, Tuesday and Thursday. Or so does he train with his club all week and then just rock up on a Saturday? I have known players that have done that, who have been out on loan. They train all week with the club and then just rock up on a Saturday and play for the loan club. Yeah,
it was kind of like the Georgie Best deal that my team Hibs had in the 80s. Just turn up and play on a Saturday and take some money at the gate.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear your views on this. Please do get in touch. 03717 223344. What do you reckon? Should B teams be banned from the EFL? We would love to hear from you.